So in this video, we're going to be looking at problem number 17. Modeling with mathematics. The function y equals 25x plus 500. So it's a function because 25x plus 500. We have an input, and this is our input. We have an output. It's our output. So it represents your monthly rent, y in dollars, and the x number of days that you pay. So of course, pay late. So if you pay late, if we can just quickly analyze this function, which it's not a part of the problem, but we can do that real quick. So 25x plus 500. If we were to analyze this, we see that this is y is the dollars, right? How much in dollars your monthly rent, and x days after you pay late. So your original rent here. So if you don't pay late at all, right? You don't pay late at all, which means that the number of days that you paid late is going to be what? 0, because you didn't pay late at all. So if you plug in 0 into this function here, like this, then you get y is equal to 500. So your monthly rent is literally just 500. This is your monthly rent. Monthly rent, as you can see over here. And the thing with this is, if you say you do one day late, right? 1 day late. It's 25 times 1 plus 500. Y is equal to 525. So this is 1 day late. And then if you have y is equal to 25, say 2 days late, this would be 600, not 600, sorry, 550. This is 2 days late. And so on and so forth. So what's happening here? What's the relationship you can see if you can think about the series? What's happening? Each and every day you pay late, it's increasing by $25, which means that the fee, I guess you could say, per day of paying late is $25. Okay, so basically, if you fail to pay your rent, and you keep on going, then each day that you pay it late, it's $25 increase. It's a kind of a fee. It is a fee, which I personally think is a little bit much, because $25, if you can't pay your rent, it's probably because you can't afford to do it just yet, and increasing it that much each day is a little bit much. But this is just a problem. It's just a problem. Okay, so let's identify the independent and the dependent variable. This is not a hard problem, hard part. The independent variable is basically, if you think about it in the science sense, the independent variable is the variable that it's not going to essentially be affected by anything else. It's independent. Which means that it's going to typically be the input, because the input is not affected by anything else. However, the output is affected by something else. What does that mean? Well, the output, the y value, is going to be affected by the input. So what this y value holds, what's the value of this y value, what number is it going to be, that depends on what the input is. So if someone was to ask you, what y value do you want, right? Or what's the y value going to be? Well, I don't know what the y value is going to be, because I can't just say that off the top of my head. That depends on what the x value is. So it's a dependent, so the y value is a dependent variable, but the x value is the independent variable, because that doesn't depend on anything. If someone came up to you and said, what's the x value going to be, then you can just choose one, if it's in part of the domain, of course, but you can just choose one that's part of the domain, and you'd be fine. So independent variable, this is going to be x, which is, of course, the days you pay late. You can say that, right? Days late, right? So that's essentially your independent variable. And then your dependent variable is going to be, of course, as I said before, y, which is what? The monthly rent. Monthly rent. Okay, let's look at B. The domain is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. What is the range? So this is an interesting question because you have a bunch of values that represent the domain or the inputs, and you want a bunch of values that are the outputs, the range. So if the domain, so if we have this function here, the range is going to be the values that correspond to the inputs. So if 0 is the range or the domain, one of the domain values, then y is going to be equal to 500 in that case. So that's one of the range values for 0 as the input. 1 is going to yield y equals 525. 2 is going to yield y equals 5. And we know what's going to happen. It's just going to increase. It's going to increase by 25 each time, right? That's the cost if you pay it late. And then this is going to be y. So we're going up until 5. So this is 0, 1, 2, and then 3 is 6, no, not 600, 575. And then y equals 600. 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we need one more. So y equals 625. 625. So the range values end up being 500, 525, 550, 575, 600, 625. So these are the range. So the domain is that. What is the range? This is the range. And you can box in your answer if this was on a test or on a homework assignment or something like that. And then this is the independent and the dependent variables. Okay, so yeah, this is essentially a problem with an independent and dependent variable and domain and range involved as well. I hope you found this video helpful, but this seems like a little harsh, as I said earlier. $25 because you paid it late. I mean, I think this is true because it's realistic. This happens places, but people should be given an opportunity before this kind of thing happens. But anyway, this is just a problem. So I hope you found this video helpful.